So earlier this year, I was really excited and thrilled for the release of a beautiful new documentary called Feeding Tomorrow. It's a film that shows the impact our food and agriculture systems have had on people and the planet, and tells the story of a group of visionaries trying to make these systems more regenerative, more resilient. So I'm excited to introduce the filmmakers, two brothers who are behind Feeding Tomorrow, Simon and Oliver English, the co-founders of Common Table Creative. Give them a round of applause, please. These guys are, hey, nice to see you. Hey. I love these guys. They're super cool. They're super creative. They get stuff done. I've always liked talking to them. So I want, hey, it's been a little bit.
It has. Good to see you.
Nice to see you both.
Nice to see you too.
What's the inspiration behind this film?
So we grew up in the restaurant business. Our parents are chefs. We grew up working, washing dishes, bussing tables for many, many years. Eventually, I grew into a role designing, developing, and opening restaurants around the world. And those experiences showed me firsthand the beautiful power of food to bring people together around the world, but also how broken our food system is, how much food we're shipping around the world, how much climate change is impacting our food system, how much food is wasted. And originally, I just sought out local farmers to get more produce for the restaurants.
Yeah.
And after spending some time with farmers, I was like, man, these people are incredible. And I called Simon, who was actually at the New York Film Academy at the time, and he said, let's film an interview with them. I said, all right, sounds cool. And that was the beginning. We were so inspired by farmers, their ability to communicate the challenges we face, but also the solutions at hand. And we thought, what if we make farmers into celebrities? What if we elevate farmers in the role of society in the way that chefs were elevated 20, 30 years ago in this country?
Yeah.
And that was the beginning.
It's about time, right?
It's about time. And that was the beginning of Feeding Tomorrow, which came out on Apple TV and Amazon Prime in January, which is our first documentary about the future of food. And it led us to start our production company as well, which is the focus of what we do now.
Can we play the trailer quickly, please?
Thank you.
Music, they say, is the universal language. I think food is. Food is the one global unifier. Everybody can sit down around a table and enjoy good food.
I'm most fearful that our children won't have the opportunity to experience that.
As a species, what are we doing with our time? How are we consuming this planet?
50% of the planet's habitat is gone because of our agriculture.
People don't have a connection to what food really is and where it really comes from.
To scale our current consumption to 10 billion people is simply manifestly impossible. We don't have the arable land for that. We don't have water resources. In other words, we will be forced to change direction.
So in the food movement, the critical thing is connecting the dots between all of these different issues: health, food access, the environment.
This system over here is going to produce food, fuels, medicines, and fibers in perpetuity forever, while increasing the fertility of the soil, increasing the biodiversity. And do you hear the toads creaking off in the background? I hope you do. And the toads are eating my pests.
As a hospital system, we should be leaders in what healthy food looks like. We believe food is medicine in that it can prevent disease, or if you do have a disease, it can reverse it.
We believe that if we connect the learning around food and nutrition to other learning, that it will stick more, and that we will have folks when they leave here who are more likely to make stronger choices around the food that they consume.
We need to begin to investigate every aspect of our lives. And let's start with what's on the plate tonight for dinner.
Thank you. Simon, what I appreciate about you is you have this very particular approach to filmmaking, especially with these producers. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. I practiced it in the mirror this morning.
I love you.
This guy, I like him.
We got one.
Yeah, we got one. We'll talk. Yeah, I mean, farmers are just the coolest, most down-to-earth, literally hands in the earth people. And I mean, I've yet to meet one I don't like.
Right.
And these people camera on, camera off, they're the same people. So they day in and day out.
Unlike chefs.
Unlike chefs. We can talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just the coolest people, and they're so down to earth, and they're doing the right thing no matter if you're watching or you're not. And it's time for people off the farm to know what's happening on the farm. And if we can get cameras on there, if they can tell us their stories, if we can hopefully put it together in a way that's engaging, I think it can have a real positive impact on the world.
It really can. That storytelling that you're doing is so important. Yeah. So this is for both of you, really. I would be interested in learning what you're learning from working with farmers and other partners in the food movement, because you've really gone across the whole landscape of food and agriculture organizations and health organizations and climate organizations.
Absolutely. And I would say that we kind of accidentally started a production company focused on the future of food. When we were the first 2 years we were working on Feeding Tomorrow, it was literally Simon and I running around carrying all the equipment. We still carry most of the tripods. And for the first 2 years, all of the food companies, NGOs, nonprofits we were meeting with, who in some way were creating positive change in the food system, started asking us for help with short form videos. They were like, hey, you guys are here. We think you kind of know what you're talking about. We need a video for social media, for fundraising, for controlling our narrative. Can you help us out? And we're like, yeah, sure. Can you give us a couple bucks? I mean, like a couple $100 maybe in the early days, but that would fund our next bus ticket to the next farm, our next plane ticket. And eventually we were like, all of these organizations need help with storytelling. What if, in addition to working on our film, we created a production company that was at the forefront of the future of food? And now I'm proud to say that we work with some of the world's leading food companies, NGOs, and nonprofits sharing stories about the future of food. We've been to 60 farms all over the world, filming with some of the most incredible organic and regenerative farmers. One of our favorite partners, I will say, and it's very fitting to be here with you today, is the American Farmland Trust. I was fortunate enough to meet John Piatti a couple years ago at a dinner, and we have for the past year and a half been working with the farmers that American Farmland Trust supports all throughout the country, in California, in Virginia, in New York. And we have learned so much from these farmers. First of all, as many of us in this room know, climate change is not some faraway thing. Farmers every single day are dealing with droughts, floods, heat waves. Farmers are also on the forefront of stewarding our planet. And one of the amazing things that I've learned so much from American Farmland Trust is that they're providing these incredibly important solutions for farmers, but beyond that, they're providing a network of support where farmers who are thinking about transitioning have a support system where they can find help and support to transition to organic farming. So I would say with American Farmland Trust and with a lot of our other clients we work with, farmers are at the forefront. They believe deeply and they see the positive impacts of regenerative agriculture every single day on their farm. We hear it from them. We've been to, like I said, 60 farms all over the world. And no matter the country, no matter the language, no matter the background, these principles, these regenerative principles, are the cornerstone of stewardship all around the world. And we hear it from these farmers directly. And that's why we believe so deeply in what we do and what so many of you do. And we believe that storytelling is a fundamental part of this movement, connecting farmers and what they do to the consumers of the world and beyond.
Yeah, I think that sets us, please, round of applause. I think that sets us up perfectly for the next clip. So thank you, production team.
I think that farming is an extension of who you are. It's how you think and feel and the values you have. Do you feel moved to create beautiful things? Is it important to work with nature? Do you feel that you have something to contribute that's from your heart?
I view farmers as being fundamental in our country. They are the core of our rural communities. They help maintain the landscape we care about. They help steward the environment. And without them, we could not live. It's that simple.
No farmers, no food, right?
That was the trailer. Just real quick, that was the trailer for a 7-minute piece that we just worked on and released with American Farmland Trust. You can find the whole video, as well as a bunch of other projects we're working on with them online and on their website as well.
Can you talk more about that project and what it's like working with them?
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. I love American Farmland Trust.
Me too.
Again, I know, right? That's how fit. Again, it's yeah, and that handsome guy was just right there. Yeah, pretty well shot video too, wouldn't you say?
And edited.
And edited. Yeah, it's another opportunity to get on these farms and meet these incredible people, especially with the work that American Farmland Trust is doing. Like, we need to get these voices off the farm and into the screens of everyone, young people of all ages, because they need to know what AFT is doing. What do we say? They're the...
I say that they are one of the most important, if not the most important organization in our country, and they have been for decades that not enough people know about,
Right.
and that is changing. Believe me. And we are on a mission to help them change that, and they've been doing the good work for decades.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up with the No Farms, No Food stickers, seeing them everywhere, and we were like, what does that even mean? But it's important, and we believe deeply in that work.
Yeah, they're super cool, and like farmers are amazing, and just everyone needs to know about them. And I just to have the opportunity to go to these farms and meet these people, like I said before, I mean, it's such a privilege.
It is a privilege, and one
Yep.
of the quotes that stands out for me from that clip is, do you feel moved to create beautiful things?
Yep.
And farmers absolutely do, and you both do.
Yep.
Talk about that.
Absolutely.
Oliver?
Sure.
I'm out of words.
I got words. You know, I think the industries that we're up against, let's call them big food, but we are dealing with and up against food companies who have a lot of money, who are marketing very addictive products to us and our children in every part of American society. And they have multi-billion-dollar budgets to do so, and they've been doing so for years. And so what Simon and I talk about and why we feel so passionately about our work is because we believe that this movement, this regenerative food movement, needs to elevate our storytelling, elevate our communication, and elevate how we share ourselves to the world. And that is why short-form storytelling, documentary filmmaking, storytelling of all types,
Reels on Instagram,
Right.
TikTok, like, is paramount to this movement.
Yep.
We need to meet people where they're at. And I think that there has never been a more exciting time to be a part of this movement, because while we know so much about the challenges, we've never known so much about the challenges, environmentally, health, societally. We've also never had such a clear picture and vision about the solutions. We've never had more opportunities. Consumers have never had more opportunities to support regenerative products at the grocery stores, to go to the farmer's market, to understand that their purchasing behavior can have a fundamental positive impact on the stewardship of our planet. And we as storytellers, and we as the food movement ecosystem that is represented in this room, need to dial up our work.
Yep.
And we need to elevate the work of these farmers and these amazing food companies. And one more note on that. I think from a storytelling communications perspective, we need to connect human health to environmental health. And we have seen this on every single farm. I know this from being in the restaurant business, from our parents being chefs, from knowing people in the food world. There is a fundamental connection between the healthiest farms and the healthiest soils and the flavor that comes from that food. And the healing power. All right, there we go. So the food with the most flavor is the most healing, is the most nutrient dense. And when we support those foods, we are supporting the best farming practices. And so for us as a movement, I think it is so critical. A lot of people care about the environmental component, but everyone cares about health.
Yeah.
And if we can lead and lean into that and connect human health, which I know we all know there's a lot of issues with human health right now, but if we can connect human health to soil health, to environmental health, to planetary health, that is a winning argument that we need to lean into.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make it fun and engaging. I mean,
Right.
let's have a party. Let's save the world and have fun while doing it.
And that reminds me, like, none of this works without deliciousness, right?
Yep,
And
yeah.
the taste.
Yes.
And so whether we're talking about health or the environment, or making sure that family farmers have a leg to stand on, it all has to come back to the taste and the deliciousness.
Absolutely.
What I like about you both is sometimes filmmakers are so precious about their film, right? But you mentioned Reels and TikTok. There's so many ways to communicate, and film is an important part of reaching young folks. Can you talk about the reaction from Gen Z to the work that you're doing?
As the closer one to Gen Z, I gotta let you respond to that one.
I'll jump in for this one, Oliver. Yeah, I mean, my generation were scared, a little pessimistic, and I'll say this. When I was in like the 5th grade, I saw An Inconvenient Truth, and it like really scared me. It was the first time I realized that grown-ups weren't taking care of the world in the way I thought, and I was introduced to this monster of climate change, and like I got goosebumps right now because it really freaked me out. And from that time, I was like, we have one planet. Like, why are we not doing everything we can to save this planet? Like, wouldn't we all sleep better at night knowing that like we're doing the right thing? I'm not a scientist. I'm not a farmer, but I can hold a camera and get on a farm and get those voices out. And a lot of my friends are super interested in this because of the work we've done. And it's just so important, man. It's like, we don't have a lot of time. And like even kids younger than me, like they really are pessimistic about this. And like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it has to be exciting. It has to be fun. It has to be engaging.
Yeah.
It's got to be like a Nike commercial.
Yeah,
right?
it totally does.
Like,
just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Just farm it.
I think they got that one, but we'll come up with someone else.
We'll work on the IP.
We'll workshop it.
And we have to meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
You know, like we made a feature-length documentary, and it took us 6 years, and it's some of the greatest work of our careers thus far.
Yeah.
But we also have been doing a lot more short-form work these days, and like we are on a mission to educate and inspire people to think differently about food.
Yeah.
Where it comes from, how it grows, and how it impacts the world around us. And we are not beholden to one type of media to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just long-form documentaries. Not everyone's going to watch a long-form documentary. In fact, most people won't. So we've been doing short-form. We've been doing 10 minutes. We've been doing 5 minutes. We've been doing a lot of 25-second reels.
That's all you got for Gen Z, man.
And that works. So let's not be precious about it. But let's take elevated storytelling to meet people where they're at. You know, I think even food products should have a little, QR code that has.
That was my idea.
A quick link. Yeah. I take a lot of his ideas and then take credit for it, so forgive me.
I'm just joking.
Has a 30-second video that Simon will make that talks about the farmer and where it comes from and how do we increase transparency? How do we increase the power of food?
Yeah.
And storytelling is the core of that.
Yeah, I love the sibling rivalry. It's great.
It's a partnership. If our sister was here, she would be the rival.
Sure. So, I want to end on action. After people see the short form doc about AFT or after they see Feeding Tomorrow, what do you hope they do?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, and I was talking to my friend Finian here from Kiss the Ground a little bit earlier today, that there has never been as exciting of a time, as an important of a time, as a monumental of a time to be part of the food movement as there is right now. There are more products in the store today than there were 5 months ago, 6 months ago, or a year ago with the regenerative organic label. There are more opportunities now than there ever have been for everyday consumers to support this movement through their purchases. And we're not talking changing everything that they eat. We're talking rice, beans, milk, meat, simple staple foods. There are now incredible regenerative options. So you can make that decision.
Yeah.
So what we try to encourage people to do is say, you don't need to go into your refrigerator and throw away everything, which we've been told in the past. You don't need to change everything you're eating, but you can go to the grocery store and make this one shift to an organic regenerative product. Maybe you realize the flavor's a little better, as I love to cook and I realize the flavor's a little better. And then you make a second choice, and then a third choice, and then you change your olive oil.
Yep.
And one step after the next,
The ripple.
we
Yeah.
can teach people that this is the time to transition to being stewards of our planet through the food that we eat, through the farmers that we support, and through the politicians that we elect. And that starts with our food choices.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the good thing is, it doesn't have to detract. So much of the environmental movement for a long time, I think, has been about how do we do less bad. This movement, this moment, is about how do we do more good through the food that we support, through the food that we put in our cart, and the farmers that we support with our dollars. And that is what American Farmland Trust is doing. That is what so many organizations with people who are represented here are doing. And that's what we believe in as storytellers and are deeply passionate about. And that's what, by the way, Food Tank has been about for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I would just like to say, Danny,
Food Tank.
I would also just like to say, I appreciate deeply, and as someone, and I know there's a lot of people here who care about food, that's why we're all here, but as someone who really cares about food and wants to spend the rest of our lives working on these issues, we're deeply grateful for all the work that Food Tank does to convene leaders in this space and build upon this incredible ecosystem. Because this ecosystem is what is going to change the future of food. And we're doing it right now. So thank you, Danny.
Thank you. Thank you. I hate that we have to end on that, but thank you to this wonderful family who I love so much. You are awesome,
Love you
both
too,
of
Danny.
you.
Love you too, Danny.
Give them a round of applause.